Are you familiar with the chants of the Hare Krishna movement? All familiar? Like Prabhupada's chants, everything? Okay. That's better. You look much better there. You look really out of place sitting up there. When I see young men sitting in chairs, you start to worry about their health and suggest they see a doctor, you know. You should see a doctor if you have to sit. You know any doctors nearby?
In 1 year, me.
Very good. And he's also in caregiving. Lochan?
Yes, that's right, Maharaj.
Caregiver. Narayan?
That's right.
Narayan Rao organises caregiving centres all over London.
Oh, okay. I'm a nurse practitioner in children's respiratory health.
Where, in London?
In Brighton.
Oh, in Brighton?
In Brighton, yeah.
I mainly run the residents with dementia
Oh, okay, yeah.
all over the country.
So I'm at the other end of this spectrum. I'm on paediatrics.
No, the pediatrics.
You're on geriatrics. Yeah.
What's the difference?
About 80 years.
Pediatrics is children's medicine,
Is it?
and then geriatrics is elderly people's medicine. You
Elderly
come on my
people.
category.
Wait a minute here. Are you insinuating something? Did you hear what he said?
Try not to hear Maharaj.
Oh my goodness, look who's coming in. Oh my word. Pay your obeisances!
Never. I'll never pay my obeisances to you.
No way. Hare Krishna. Do you all know it? You familiar with this gentleman? Hare Krishna. He is now the temple president of their Soho Street temple. Can you believe it? Yes.
There's also there's more pillows there. There's more pillows. You know the pillows back there. Don't feel bad. Oops. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Narayan Rao, he organizes, or he manages, which one is it? Not pediatric, what's the other one? Geriatric centres all over England. If you need, that's good to know indeed. You need that.
That's something that's going to happen to everybody.
Well, if we reach that age.
So he's got a very unique one where they serve no onion, no garlic.
Go on in Harrow. Pure.
In Harrow, which is no onion, no garlic.
Totally vegetarian, huh?
Totally vegetarian, no onion, no garlic.
Nice.
For everybody.
Wow. Well, people generally know that that's good for your health. Even meat eaters, generally speaking. And when they get older, it's not discouraged to be a vegetarian. There's a lot of encouragement to give up meat eating when you're old. People are aware that it's not, not the best thing to eat when you're old. Is that right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are aware of that. A lot of old people become vegetarians simply because of that, health. Lighter diet, less strain on the heart and other organs, right? Good. Do we have a harmonium here? You have a harmonium?
There's no one here, Maharaj.
Because we have, Dayamore is very good on the harmonium.
No, I'm not really. Yes. He's actually quite good.
For Madongas we have no problem, but harmonium, Rasikananda's good Madonga. He can also play harmonium. He can play harmonium to my voice because he's used to me. But if he can't, then you can try. And if you can't do it, then you can try. Yeah. You better follow my... You called me Mr. Frog earlier, so I guess... Who said that? Who called me Mr. Frog?
Possibly call you. He should be hung up.
Hung up on the Frame.
served on a plate.
Somebody called me Mr. Frog earlier. I don't know who it was. Who was that? Who was it? Loshan? Who called me Mr. Frog?
Dave. I challenge you to a duel.
Hare Krishna. What was your occupation?
I'm an accountant.
Accountant, yes, very good. Here in this part of London? Good.
Less than 5 minutes away.
Less than 5 minutes from here, an accountant. Much of my devotional life was spent doing accounts. In fact, I was the first one in the manor and in Bury Place to get the accounts together. They hadn't done their accounts in 5 years since they opened the temple. 1974, we were about to be closed down practically if we didn't get our accounts together. So we had that wonderful service of trying to get them sorted.
They have all the receipts.
No way. Next to none. Next to none. They haven't even paid the rent in Bury Place for 4 years. They never paid the rent for 4 years. After the first year, they never paid it for the next 4 years. Landlord went to America and left it with a friend to deal with, who never checked the bank account to see if the money was coming in or not.
Did they pay it off in the end?
We had to. It was a court case. That's one of the reasons we got busy. All the books in the 70s, you know. They were so spaced out. What to do?
It's a miracle. It's only by Lord Chaitanya's mercy.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
It's not the same.
Bailiffs coming round. We had bailiffs round to the manors. Nothing unusual. So many unpaid bills. Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnu Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sanyavadi Pasachari Shatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Chachari Shatarine. Are you familiar with this tune?
She's coming, Maharaj. She's coming.
Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sade Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a bit high tuned, it's a bit sharp. If you can't lower it. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. You want to try Rasika? Oh yeah, that would be easier. It's a bit sharp, that harmonium. It's okay for powerful Harinams on the street. I'm going to probably go down a little bit there. Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Is there one key stuck or what? Is there a key stuck? Pardon?
I can just play a drone, but I can stop.
That's a little bit, maybe a little high drone or something, I don't know. Keep going, keep trying. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm not going to change the pitch until you get the low one. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'll sing one you might be a little more familiar with. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna You've heard that one before? Okay. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Rasika Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Lochan
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Someone's at the front door. Rama Rama Hare Hare
Tell her to go away. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hooray! Haribo! Ananda, Haribo, Nimai. Woo! Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Kashun. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radharaman. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. You drove him away. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anyone else in the back pews? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you very much for inviting us. Oh, you came back. I thought you ran away. I thought you were afraid of leading the kirtan or something, Richard. Nice to see you back. Thank you for hosting us today in your humble abode. Humble is not a word measurable by quantity, it's a qualitative word. It may be related to the quantity, but it is not really judged by the quantity. It's judged by how we deal with the quantity. How we deal with our lives, how we deal with each other, how we deal with the world. Because after all, it doesn't belong to us. We may have been endowed or imbued with some qualities, we may have some facilities in life relative to others. But ultimately, of course, every learned person knows that nothing belongs to us. Right? Not really.
You belong to us.
I belong to you. Oh my goodness. Okay. I remember one time, what was his name? The Queen's sculptor. David something. He was the Queen's sculptor. Queen of England. I don't think he's alive anymore. He came to see Prabhupada. He was a friend of George Harrison's. He came to see Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada asked him if he'd read the Bhagavad Gita. He said, yes, I've got your Bhagavad Gita. And he got it from the Queen. And she said it would be very nice if everyone could give that responsibility to Krishna and not claim it for ourselves. We all think we're the doers, the owners, the enjoyers. Why are you looking at me like that? Probably because I'm looking at you like that. And welcome to those devotees who've newly arrived from far distant lands, from Holland. Some of you tonight have come from Holland. Who's come from Holland? Netherlands? Hands up. A little core from, well, New Zealand via Holland, right? How long have you been in Holland?
The last 2 weeks.
A few weeks now. Are you having a bit of a break? A break from down under. Is this the first time the kids are meeting?
No, Maharaj. Adi Keshava was sitting over there.
Where's Adi? There you are. Haribo, Adi. Hare Krishna.
Adi and Nima met in India last year.
They met in India, okay.
Yes. Inseparable. But I think, Ishan and Janaki met Nima for the first time.
First time you're meeting you
No,
guys,
in
huh?
New Zealand, a couple of months ago.
Okay. Oh, they came to New Zealand also. You went to New Zealand.
We went to New Zealand.
You went to New Zealand. That's the first time, so recently. Yes, families all over the world now, isn't it? Normally the families would all be in the same village, more or less, right? Previous century, not so long ago, even in England. You know, last century they started moving around a bit, but before that, more or less, they would stay mostly in the same village, same town. You take off where your father left off. If your father was a farmer, kids would usually become farmers. Father was a doctor, kids usually become doctors, or something like that. We're in a changing age where many things are, the world's always changing, but it's changing externally very quickly. And internally, unfortunately, in most cases, people have become very much more materialistic, you could say. Much more self-centered in many ways. To some degree, of course, there's always a presence of communal activity, philanthropic activity, and so on. But it's still very much limited in its understanding and scope, even what is real philanthropy, what to speak of the extent of it, what really it means to help people. We all are familiar with the material aspect of that, which of course is to go on, it has to go on, it's natural. But it's not the real essential welfare, the essential activity or most beneficial activity for human beings, simply to try to maintain, sustain their bodies, their societies and so on, although that is required. It's not the most important thing. The most important thing in human life is meant to be a little bit more than that. Tato Brahma Jignasa. Now that we've come to this human form of life, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do, Janaki? Surrender to Krishna. That's like the full thing. Yes. At least we're meant to mold our lives or live in a way that will help us to come to that point of surrendering to Krishna, which literally means returning. You know, people talk a lot about revolution. I don't know if they still do. In France they do. I don't know if anywhere else they do. But not so much maybe as they did a few years ago. I don't know. When we were kids, revolution was quite a popular subject matter. I don't know if it still is or not. It is in some places. But the real deeper meaning of revolution, many of you are familiar with this. For most people, revolution means turning over, getting rid of the present and replacing it with your own, idea, isn't it? Of turning over the old and bringing in the new or something. But that's not the real essential meaning of revolution. What is revolution in its definitive meaning? Going around. So something that goes around comes back to where you started. It literally means to return to your origins in terms of, in human application. It means to return to your origins. Now, what does that mean? Become an ape? Did you come from an ape? Maybe, yeah. Many people may think that. And they sometimes say that about Hare Krishnas. You're just teaching us to become cavemen again or something. We don't usually live in caves, but sometimes. But the type of lifestyle, the food, people are getting used to it, but the food, the clothing, the lifestyle we lead, Of course, we do utilize, as we said earlier, humility is not to reject things. How can we reject things that don't really belong to us anyway? The humility is really to understand that this is not mine to say I should accept or reject. This is Krishna's energy. So the humility means to really see this as everything belonging to Krishna. That's humility. Prabhupada said that one time. That's humility. To understand everything belongs to Krishna. And with that understanding, unless we're demonic, demons may also know that sometimes, but they're against Krishna. They want to get rid of Krishna and take over. But most people are in ignorance. They have no idea whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
I told you. That was amazing. I couldn't believe it. This is incredible. I knew there'd be somebody in here who would challenge it. I don't know if it was so artificial, that one. I think that was... what was that, by the way?
It's the light control.
The mic's off.
Oh, thank God for that. I hope you stay off, Mike. Did you plan that purposely?
No.
You sure? I told you most people have no idea of what's going on. And consequently, because we're all, well, maybe not all here, hopefully, but people in general are ignorant of these simple, very simple points. There's so many problems in the world. Like a society, nobody knows who anything belongs to. It's naturally going to be quite chaotic. Like an animal society, you could say. Animals don't generally think who they... Well, they think it belongs to them, but nobody else thinks like that. You know, everyone thinks it's there for me. And material life is a bit like that. This false ego, this self-centeredness there. So many problems are there. And tonight we're gathered here in this little corner of Rickmansworth. We're still in Rickmansworth? Northwood. Is it part of Rickmansworth or separate? Separate town. Near Rickmansworth. Yeah. And, you know, materially speaking, a nice facility, but the humility is there to see that this is really meant for the service of Krishna. It may not look simple. The term simple is another interesting term. Sometimes people think simple means to live very austerely with next to nothing. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It can do. But is it simple for Arjuna to live like that? You all have heard of Arjuna. Where's the popcorn? The drinks are coming around. We have an interlude. Was it simple for Arjuna to live like that? Quite the opposite. In some ways, the Battle of Kurukshetra was ignited because it wasn't simple for him to live like that. Isn't it? He couldn't live like that, just like a mendicant. Was it simple for him? In one sense it wasn't, but it is simple for a warrior to fight, to live in a palace, to have thousands of servants. It wouldn't be simple for many people, but for Arjuna that was normal. For him not to live like that was not simple. For a Brahmin to live like that, they can, maybe if they're very advanced, they can do anything, but it's not actually the life of a Brahmin. It's not simple. There are many examples one can give in that regards, but it depends upon the individual what is simple and what's not simple. But we're not here to be simple or to be by material definition, humble. We're here to be on another, I could say, direction there when it comes to these qualities. That even these qualities, although they're intrinsic, they're within us. They're within us. They're inherent within us, but in a pure form, not in a form relative to the world around us exactly, although that will be there also. But primarily, they're inherent in our very being itself. Every living entity, no matter what cover we may have, what form we may have in this moment, what condition we're in, every living entity by nature has dormant, at least in a dormant stage, maybe not manifest very much, or only in a perverted way, transcendental qualities, spiritual qualities, which appear for those conditioned souls in this world in various ways in relationship with the material energy, various forms, depending on the modes of nature's influence upon us. The qualities of the soul manifest to some degree in a perverted form in this world. And as the soul becomes purified from these sarva upadis, these false identities, the heart becomes tatpadavena nirmam, cleansed, purified. The natural qualities of the living entity start to appear or manifest in a purer form. But they're there already, simplicity. Understanding that everything belongs to Krishna and should be used in Krishna's service and not taking more than what is required is a basic principle for a human being, although that may not be understood in this modern age that we live in. Today, even in many villages, many people, not just villages, but many persons, especially from India, are very familiar with this understanding. Whether they can apply it is another thing, but they're familiar with the theory at least. May need guidance how to apply it in our complicated world. It is very complicated. We don't usually get environmental support as before, or we don't usually get even the guidance from one's family, who may not even be present anyway, to help us to imbibe or to develop these qualities which we're meant to develop in the human form of life. The ultimate quality is complete surrender, as Janaki said to Krishna. Complete surrender. That generally we don't start at the end, we start at the beginning. All of you are familiar with the Bhagavad Gita, one way or another. Maybe the tiny tots are not, but all of us adults are supposed to be familiar with the Bhagavad Gita. Probably, has everybody read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita in this room? Is there anyone in this room, maybe Ishan, you're reading? Have you read it through all the way, or still reading? Reading. Was that a comment? He's doing his job. When Prabhupada was in the manor one time, there was loud noise of typewriters. In the old days, we didn't have these modern computerized typewriters. It was tap, 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 in many cases. Prabhupada, because they were typing, of course, they were typing up Prabhupada's, transcribing his lectures. And they were, Prabhupada says this is the sound of kirtan. So we'll try to imagine this is the sound of kirtan here. Needs a little practice though, no? Not quite in tune. So now we're going to test you. Where were we before? Had we asked you, isn't it? How many of you have read the whole Bhagavad Gita of Srila Prabhupada? Nobody? Maybe. Depends how we look at that, doesn't it? How much we've really heard it. We may have memorized it. I remember when I first joined the temple, Bury Place in London, there was one man, what's his name now, slipped my memory, but he memorized every verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Indian gentleman. He was the secretary of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in London. He'd memorized every verse of the Bhagavad Gita. And he knew many other verses from other scriptures too. He was a very learned man. And there's no way he could give up eating meat and smoking cigarettes. Indian gentleman. He came to the temple regularly. You know, he had a piety there and he was favorable more or less. But still, something was missing. If we've really understood the Bhagavad Gita, what will we do? What will we do?
Bhakti.
Pardon? What do you say?
Bhakti yoga.
Bhakti yoga. We'll practice bhakti yoga. So that, of course, is a subject matter which contains all different, you could say, activities and aspects and levels also. But if we really understood, what does Krishna say? Have you understood this, Arjuna? Have you understood this, Bhagavad, what I've told you? What happens if you've understood it? Huh?
Surrender to Krishna.
Yeah, but why was Arjuna not surrendering to Krishna? In the beginning, it appears he wasn't so surrendered. It appeared.
He was confused.
Doubts. He had many, many doubts. Are your doubts now dispelled? Have you heard this with an? What? With a what? Attentive mind. If you've not heard it with an attentive mind, you'll be lost, not hearing me. If we really hear it, we have to hear it. And hearing means, if we want to realize the subject matter, it's not so difficult. It's just, I guess we're a little attached to, the same things Arjuna was a little bit attached to in the beginning, or appeared to be attached to. Families, material, compassion, fears, different doubts are there, worried about the future and so on. And you could justify it from a material point of view, no doubt, but ultimately that's not the real essential approach. Sounds good. But to remove all these doubts of the whole Bhagavad Gita, we could say, was spoken for this point, as you mentioned a few times, to remove the doubts so that we can surrender to Krishna. But that's at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Isn't that in the 18th chapter? There are 17 chapters prior to the 18th. So if you want to realize the subject, because realization has to be there, otherwise it just remains some kind of hope, aspiration, okay? Maybe out of other reasons we may follow. Sometimes it's just indoctrination or fear, or just accepting it as one's culture. It's too dull to think outside the box, or you like it, you feel protected or something. But, the realization is the essential factor of surrender. Not the factor of surrender, but there must be realization there. Surrender may be a part of the process. We're in the process of surrender, but real surrender cannot be anything less than, without any kind of conditioning, dependence on anything other than Krishna. If we're still depending upon results, we're depending upon, around us, things going protected in that way by the surroundings, etc., or structures, and so on. Even sadhana, what we call sadhana means practicing various activities to reach a certain goal. Then we're on the path of surrender maybe. We're accepting that, we're applying it in our lives. What do we expect to get from application? Let's give an example. How many of you like to cook? Hands up high in the sky. Ishan, you like cooking?
Just with my mother.
Well, that's great. The best cooks in the world are usually men. The top cooks. Of course, it's usually ladies who cook in the families in general, but most of the top cooks in the world are men. And even in New Mayapur, our temple president is a professional cook, although he doesn't cook much. He's a professional cook. That's his actual profession. Qualified, the top colleges for cooking, and cooked in Hyatt hotels and all kinds of places. But he's now the temple president of New Mayapur. Anyone here a very good cook?
Best ice cream.
He's a good. We need a new. We. You cook ice cream. You boil it. You boil it or fry it.
Usually I burn it.
Fried ice cream. Huh? Baked ice cream.
They have deep fried ice
Cooked ice cream. You must be a very good cook. Did you boil the samosas today? fry this ice cream. Fried ice cream. Huh?
They make it.
In Thailand.
Fried ice cream?
Fried ice cream.
Deep fried, huh?
Thai.
Huh?
Thai food. Thai desserts.
Thai food? I think that's a concoction, isn't it? I don't think that's traditional. I'm pretty sure it's not traditional. They may have, they may have kind of improvised according to modern ideas. It's not traditional. Anyway, you're a good cook. Who's the best cook here? Come on, let's be honest.
Shampriya, Brazil.
Hey, she's great. Your fingers are pointed at you, Matthew. Oh, where's Shamapriya? She's also a good cook, huh? There she is. So these two, looks like the fingers are pointed at you two ladies.
Sita Wallaby is a very good cook herself.
Is she? Where is she?
All the food that you had today was made.
There she is, huh?
All the food that you had, the prasadi, was made.
Who by Sita?
Sita Wallaby. She's a very good cook.
She's a very good cook. Well, I think many of you are very. Do you all know each other? Have you been here before? You've never been here. Have you been? You've been to London before? Oh well, probably you've never been here before then, probably.
They are my niece and nephews.
Pardon?
They are my niece and nephews.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, far out. Isn't that wonderful? Small world, isn't it? Huh? Incredible. You've been here before, Nanda?
Yes, Maharaj.
You came to this house before?
Oh no, not to this house. Sorry, to London.
Yeah, I know you've been to London before. My memory's not quite that bad. But, okay, whoever is a good cook, never mind. What's the essential feature? Now, you like cooking. Obviously, you like to cook. I presume you do anyway. But what's the real, let's say, the cream, the real, yes?
Is it the consciousness with which you cook?
Okay, that's the application. But in terms of, let's say, the outcome.
To please Krishna?
Well, then you're a devotee. Let's get a little bit more down to earth. Pardon? What?
Know how to cook.
Well, these are preliminaries. Some knowledge has to be there, obviously. Knowledge is essential to know. What really satisfies you? I mean, you can just cook, and you might like just cooking.
When people have the prasadam and they're happy,
Right. Isn't that a big thing, you know?
But they taste good.
Huh?
Whether they taste good.
Well, you have to confirm that. You can't just say, because I think it tastes good, therefore it tastes good. I don't care what you think. Eat it. What's wrong with you? This is good. What are you complaining about? Isn't it? Unless you're just cooking for yourself, that's up to you. But if you're cooking in a restaurant, you definitely have to consider that, don't you? Everyone walks out, you know. Ugh. Well, what's wrong? It's brilliant. The food's fantastic. I'd never go back there again. You won't last, you know. Because they're doing it for money, but if you invite people to your house, isn't it? Aren't you happy when you see all your guests happy with the prasadam?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the peaks of the program, isn't it, really? Isn't it? When everyone's satisfied with the prasadam. Then you kind of, of course it's not transcendental, but it's a kind of a realization. People have a realization. You can't just tell them, this is fantastic food I've cooked for you today. You know, they have to realize it, don't they? Oh, really? Oh, good. And they can't, you know, they might just, okay. How's the food? Oh, wonderful. Very, very nice. Oh, my God. You ever had that experience? I had that experience once in Sydney. Oh, that was funny. Anyone here a Tamal Krishna Maharaj disciple? Many of you have heard of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, one of the most famous disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And he was known to be very particular. I don't know if any of you ever met him. Did you meet him? So he was very particular about things. Everything had to be just paka, just right, you know? Especially when it came to prasadam. So I remember we were sitting together in Sydney taking lunch, and devoted cook. It was really one nice first-class prashadam. He was very happy. Then he said, is there a sweet? So they brought the sweet in. And it was cooked by one of his disciples, a really good disciple. She lives in London now, by the way. Moved from Sydney to London. And he looked at this sweet. It was impossible to understand what type of sweet it was by looking at it. It looked. Have you ever made cement? No, I'm not saying it was. But before you put the water in the cement, you make this kind of like rim, that goes like this, and you put the water in the middle, start mixing it. So it was like this. It went up and down like this in the middle. It was like flat on the bottom, and it went up like this on the sides, on the plate. Kind of looked at it. What's this? Oh, it's a special cake. Okay. He took one mouthful. You should have seen his face. Who made this? Who made this? It was really the most extraordinary cake I've ever tasted. I don't think anyone took more than half a spoon. You had to have a spoon to you couldn't pick it up. And it was kind of like glue. And he said, who cooked this? And he said, I won't mention the name because some of you may know them. But he said the name, so-and-so Dasi. Call her in! Oh my God, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. When he would give some mercy to people, he really gave it to them. They called her in, and he looked at her and said, you cooked this cake, so-and-so Dasi? Yes, Gurudev. Did you like it? That was the most extraordinary cake I've ever tasted in my life. He said it in a way as if it was like a praise, She went all blushed and she, thank you, Gurudev, and she sneaked out, Then he said, never ever let her cook ever again. He said nothing to her. He just said, extraordinary cake. Thank you very much. Prabhupada did that. He learned that from Prabhupada. How to deal with people in all different ways, to encourage them. Anyway, how do we get... Oh, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. To get the realization, you have to taste it, isn't it? You don't really know if the food's good unless you taste it. It might look good, that's fine, it should look good. But the real proof is the taste. It's like the philosophy, sounds good, huh? You might even be convinced to practically accept it, but to really, the purpose of it is not just a philosophy. It's not just a movement, which might be good. It's not just sadhana, which might be, whatever, justifiable. You may even feel good with the philosophy, but that's not the real point of it all. And even surrender to Krishna, that sounds like, hands up or else type of thing. Surrender or else. You've heard that line before? You go on the street sometimes. Have you seen these people with boards sometimes? They have these, they all stand there in the street with their boards. You've seen it? What does it say? Pardon? What does it say? Huh? Yeah, repent or burn. Repent or burn. Basically it means you surrender or go to hell, It's not really surrender, but that's the idea. It's all or nothing. It's almost like threatening, isn't it? It's not. Surrender is with what? Pardon? Love. In the beginning, it may not be. It's, some degree of faith and perhaps a little affection is there for certain aspects of relationships and so on, hopes, some attraction towards, oh, Krishna looks so nice, look at him, he's blue. Look at that. and we hear beautiful descriptions. It might attract our attention, but it's not real in terms of inner, let's say, relationship exactly. It's something which attracts us perhaps emotionally or sensually. So it's a good start, but it's got to be a little deeper than that. Those type of conditions can easily be, let's say, wavering. They can easily be flickering. It's got to go deep. There's got to be some kind of realization there. Realization is not just not only, it can be, of course, those who are impersonalists, it's not just one's own kind of like self-realization. Self-realization is not just kind of, I've realized that I'm a spiritual spark, eternal spiritual spark or something. So what's your role? I sparkle. I'm a sparkler. Eternal sparkler. You can be an eternal sparkler. He looks like he's enjoying that one. An eternal spark. I said that one time. Well, what am I in the spiritual world? Said you're a spark. A spark in the spiritual world. Well, if you sparkle and it pleases Krishna, I guess it's okay to be a spark. We don't usually aspire to become a spark. Nothing wrong with that if it really is the most pleasing thing to Krishna. But that's the real essence, is that, the realization, not just I'm a spiritual being, not that just I'm a spiritual entity apart from this material energy, or I'm a sparkler or something, but that we are, a real existence is like our body, you can define the finger independently, but what's its real purpose? What's its real nature? What's it meant for? Picking your nose or what? Chanting Janaki? Is that what you're going to say? Same thing? Oh, laughing. Good. It was funny. Okay, what's the finger for? And look at my fingers, what are they doing now? Scratching my head. What's the fingers for? Oh yeah, they were the temple presents. You know all about that. What's the fingers for?
To serve.
Serve? Who said that? Ananda? Serve what? Huh? Serve themselves? Prabhupada tells that story, doesn't he? Of the senses all wanting to serve themselves. Imagine if you have gulab jamun, Gulab jamun. Fingers refuse to give it to the mouth. I'm going to enjoy it myself. Enough of this. Why the mouth is always getting the gulab? I get it for a moment and then it's gone down the mouth. Nothing comes back to me. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to give it to the mouth. Ha, ha, ha. That's what we're doing in the material world in one sense. We all know the result of that. We all die. And we suffer while we're living. So it doesn't work very well. Not a good philosophy. So what's the purpose of the finger with the gulab? Pick it up.
Follow the instructions of self.
Okay, you could say that. Follow the instruction. Okay, if you're looking at it from a conscious point of view, yes. The hand is supposed to, it happens so quickly you can hardly ascertain the process. Somehow or another you have a desire and the hand almost spontaneously follows it's so quick, they say. It's synthesized in the brain so quickly through the nervous system, whatever it is, and boom! You can't even measure the time it takes practically. It happens almost spontaneously. The hand moves, the leg moves, whatever it is. Operate. The senses move so quickly. To try to serve the instruction coming down through the brain, from the mind to the brain, ultimately it's to serve, we could say in the terms of this simple example, it's to serve the whole. The whole in this case is the subtle and gross body. To serve that purpose, whatever that is behind it, whatever is within it. But that's the purpose of our senses, to try to satisfy whatever the mind's demands are. And they're transferred through the physical brain, through the and so on to the senses, and then they try to work to satisfy or to fulfill that intention. They should not, if they act independently, you've got a problem, isn't it? Sometimes we see that happening. I think there's one medical, some of you are doctors here. There's a medical disease where the body acts differently to the demand of the brain, isn't there? Instead of going right, the hand will go left. It acts differently. It doesn't follow the desire or let's say the intention created in the brain. It operates differently, isn't it? I don't know what they have a name for these things, but imagine if that were the case. You wanted, for instance, to shake someone's hand. Instead, you punch them in the face. The result will be a little different, right? You didn't mean to do it. It's just something in between didn't quite work right. And in a sense, we, as we probably know, if you've read the Bhagavad Gita, if you haven't, you better get started reading. What does Krishna say in the 15th chapter about who are we? I mean, that might be a little difficult because oftentimes we know verses, but we can't pinpoint where they're from. There's a famous verse in the 15th chapter. I've probably got the wrong chapter anyway. Oh. Enough of that one. Battery's running out?
Yeah.
You have a Bhagavad Gita here? If you have one, bring one. Physical copy. Let's see if we can find it. Perhaps I got the wrong chapter. I mean, you know, it's not the big issue, is it? I was just saying that so to give you a little idea that you might catch it, but I may have been wrong myself. We have to admit that sometimes we're wrong. Don't forget that. Sometimes we may make a mistake. Are you going?
No, we're just here.
Pardon?
Just standing for a minute.
Chanting?
Standing.
Oh, standing, okay. Good. So, yes, we may make mistakes. It's a hard one, isn't it, to admit that we make mistakes, especially when we're on a campaign of some kind. Thank you. Oh, my goodness, look at, whoa. Am I allowed to read from this? Whoa. Whoa. Daimon Prabhu, you're the president of the temple. Am I allowed to read?
No.
No, okay. You read. You're allowed to read. I got you. Well, who knows what the 15th chapter is entitled? Anyone know? Huh? Yeah, Purushottam Yoga, isn't it? And I probably got the wrong chapter. What to do? Let me look it up in the back. I hope they put the sometimes they shorten the indexes and so on. Let's see. Yes, I was right. And I was even right with the verse, but I didn't go to that page. I went looking at the end. It's the 15th chapter. See? Jai! Dun, 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 dun. Text number 7. Now I've given you a big clue. Gave you a little clue to begin with, now a big one. 5th, and now you don't have a mobile tonight, put it down. 15:7. Mam, Evangsa. Come on. Mam Evangsa. Jiva Loke, Jiva, Bhuta, Sanatanaha. Exactly. Manak, Sastrani, Indiani. Very good, well done. Prakriti Stani, Karshati. We're struggling in this world. And why we're struggling is we've forgotten who we are. That's all. Theoretically, we can start practicing the process to realize who we are. But the realization's still not there. That's a long subject matter. But what are we? We are fragmental. Anksa means fragmental particles. Fragmental in the sense that we've separated ourselves by consciousness from the whole, from Krishna. This world, Jivaloke, this world of conditional life. And because but by nature, we are the eternal living entity, eternal, what are we? External. We were reading one of the books on this morning, we were reading in the Veda, not the Veda base, on the Kindle, we downloaded one book, it wasn't Prabhupada, it was a book of Chaitanya Bhagavat. And it kept saying, the living entity is the external servant of Krishna. You see? It's a correct word, external. So if you don't really check it, they just do the Google spell check or whatever it's called. You won't come up with that. It's just one letter difference, and it means a lot of difference. Eternal and external. Almost the opposite. Living entity is the eternal, not external, eternal servant of the Lord. Jive Swarup Hai. Pardon? Nitya Krishna Das. We're the eternal. That's our constitution. That's what we're really, that's our really position. Just like the finger's business is to serve the body. It's not to be independent. Huh? Everything is meant to serve the whole. If we don't know what the whole is, pretty hard. If you play golf and you don't know what the whole is, you're not going to win the golf game, are you? You've got to know what the goal is. So this knowledge is very important. Bhagavad Gita gives us that knowledge. What is the goal of life? This is the beginning. Surrender to Krishna. But then what? That's when another level begins. But at least that much we can try to come to understand that I am the eternal servant of Krishna. Live our lives. In the 4th chapter there's a great verse. This is about, I don't know number, 37 maybe? Who knows what the 4th chapter is called? Divyagam, transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada calls it transcendental knowledge. There's some fantastic verses there. Let's see which one it is now. Well, I'll start from 35. Listen to this, boys and girls. 35. Now, let's go back to 34. What's 34? 4:34. Who knows that verse? These are preliminaries. Come on, Janaki. Huh? Well done. The chorus was there. Tadvidi pranipātena. What is this verse referring to? What does it refer to?
How to approach a spiritual master.
How to approach? Well, yes. First, you must approach the spiritual master if you want to. What?
Get transcendental knowledge.
Understand the truth. Huh? Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. And what does that entail? Does it just approaching him? I approached him. What happened? What are you supposed to do? Inquire submissive. You're not supposed to sit there like a dummy. What are you doing? I've approached it. I'm following. I'm approached the spiritual master. You're supposed to inquire submissively, and there's something else there too. What is that? That's not enough. What have we got to do? Yes, Ishan? Pardon?
Serve him
Correct. Render service unto him.
submissively.
Pardon?
Submissively.
What's that?
Submissively.
Submissive. Very good. Very good. Well, that's the inquiry has to be submissive. different types of inquiry. You can inquire challengingly, can't you? Or just disinterestedly. Just curiosity, but no real serious purpose behind it, you know. But it should be submissive. What did that mean, submissive inquiry? How would you put that in practical terminology? Yeah, submissive inquiry means you accept what they say, basically. So if they say, bring a cup of water, you do nothing. Did you hear what I said? Yeah, I heard what you said. You said, bring a cup of water. Can you please bring a cup of water? I approached the spiritual master. What did he tell you? He said, bring a cup of water. You have to act on it. Otherwise there'll be no reciprocation. Huh? Realization is not something which you, like in the material world, perhaps if you want to cook, there's a theory, you follow the theory, ingredients and so on, you get the result. It's kind of like mechanical. Krishna conscious realization is not mechanical. It's not something you can make happen by a certain application. It's not like a chemical formula. It's got relationship to that, but that's not the actual essential cause of realization. What is the essential cause of realization? What's happening? Oh, look, he's immediately responding. Be careful, those bottles are dangerous. They have a cap on them, but sometimes the water bounces off the cap and flies backwards. You kind of have to put the cap back further usually. Thank you very much. That wasn't really what I was asking, but anyway, it's a good example. What's the essential, you could say, cause of realization? Ultimate cause, let's put it that way. Ultimate. We try our best. We have some faith in the process. We try to apply it, but what's the ultimate? Pardon?
Mercy of the spiritual master.
Ultimately, yes, you could say that is, in one sense, true. But you can go a little bit beyond that. Not beyond in a sense, but aside from that. Side of it. Pardon? This is the submissive inquiry and application aspect, I suppose. But ultimately, what does it depend upon? As everything else depends upon the same factor. It depends on it entirely. Prabhupada writes himself, the awakening of our dormant affectionate relation with Krishna does not at all depend upon the mechanical process of hearing and chanting, but depends wholly and solely on the mercy of Krishna. That means entirely. The process is a form of Krishna's mercy also. It's also a process of mercy. But the ultimate thing is choice is entirely Krishna's. Of course, the influence of the spiritual master or his dear devotee is, generally speaking, you can say, the impetus for that mercy to descend. But Krishna's independent. He can do anything he likes. It really depends on his mercy. We have to evoke his mercy. That's like a subject in of itself. So let's read on. And this is the process. Try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively. Render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he's seen the truth. He imparts knowledge, the process of realization, and the goal. He gives Sambandha Gyan, and he also gives the process to realize what is called prayojana, which means the ultimate objective, by giving us particular directions how to reach that goal. And when you have thus learned the truth, what will you know? You will know that, what will you know? You will know what? You will know, what will you know? You know how to avoid paying the tax by going on the right road around London. That was, well, no, this is a fact. We spent a lot of our journey trying to negotiate, not having to pay to get here. Because if you follow the Google Maps, whatever they're called, you'd have ended up paying some money to reach this house from where we came from. Yes. What is that tax? What's it called? Huh?
And congestion.
Congestion fees, new lead fees, this fee, that fee. It's like you've got to know all these things, otherwise you end up with like £30 bills on your shoulders just for driving down the wrong road for 5 seconds. You've got a £30 bill, right? This thing, that thing. London's like that. You've got to know where to go. You spend a lot of time sometimes battling with the Google Maps to try to... They keep telling you to go into this zone, you know. We're trying to avoid it, you know. Down the outside and there and come back in again. Spend a lot of time like that trying to understand this thing, how to avoid it. So what will we know if we learn the truth? What is the truth? What will we know? Huh?
All living beings are in me.
The what?
All living beings.
The holy name? The holy name?
No. Living beings.
Oh, living. I just hear holy name, holy name. The living, all living beings, okay.
Are in me.
And you? Krishna speaking. You will know that all living beings are but... It's difficult to put it in English. It often has a kind of a perverted understanding. Your heart is pure. You've been serving so nicely. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Pleased to meet you.
Very fortunate to meet you too. Maybe we'll see you again, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, God willing.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Haribol.
Thanks to Steve.
Aye. We had another Steve here earlier, but he went to a concert somewhere. He went to a concert in Hackney or somewhere like that. Hackney, he said. I don't know if it is Hackney. Hackney? Yes, anyway. So, all beings are but part of me. Of course, people interpret that to mean we're all God, and there's some truth in that, but it's not complete. The part and parcel problem. See, I mean, it's a part, but it's not the whole. It's got similar qualities, but it's not the whole. Just like your finger is part and parcel of the body, but it's not the whole body. And that they are in me and are mine. We'll read on. There's one verse and we'll have to finish. Even if you are considered the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Situated in the boat, you may not have reached the end, but you get in the boat, and we've all been on boats, I'm sure. Everyone's been on a boat?
Yes.
A big boat? Across the channel or something like that. We used to go on boat rides when I was a kid. Sometimes my father worked for the company and we get free railway tickets and boat tickets and things. I remember going to the Channel Islands one year. The water was very rough, like this. So we're going up and down the boat and I'm vomiting. I've got seasick. I'm a kid, 6 years old or something, 5 years old. I'm seasick. You ever been seasick, Ishan? You have to take him on a boat. He won't get seasick, by the way, normally. This was a rare exception. On the Ganga, yeah. Yeah, on the Ganga. They're the best boats. But this was a big boat going across the English Channel to the Jersey or somewhere. And I was so sick, I just kept screaming, I want to get off the boat! I want to get off the boat! My mother would let me, I was beating her. I don't normally beat, but as a kid sometimes, I don't know if I was beating her, but I was angry, you know. I want to get off the boat and she wouldn't let me. Doctors will know this. We have any doctors here tonight? Any doctors? Here's one.
No, two.
Two.
Where is he gone?
2 doctors. Dentists probably even more, isn't it? Sometimes the patient is like, ah, stop. No. They kind of don't like the treatment that you have to give them sometimes. Children. I'm sure there's any kids left here. They've all gone to play somewhere. But you try to say, my dear son, my dear daughter, please take this horrible, bitter medicine. It's good for you. Would they be enthusiastic? Yuck. If you don't put some sugar in there, some syrup, they can't handle it, right? You make it tasty, and then they might take it. So Krishna consciousness may be a little bit bumpy. Maybe if you get off the boat, what will happen? Middle of the ocean. Are you going to be happy? I got off the boat. I solved the problem. You're going to be a bigger problem. How much bigger? You're going to be in the ocean. You're going to drown. Ah, Mummy, help! I told you not to get off the boat. It's your fault. No, she's not going to let you get off the boat, even if you do everything under the sun. Obviously not.
Marge, the question is, how do you get on the boat?
How to get on the boat? Ooh, I never thought of that one. Oh, that's a challenging question. We don't accept challenging questions. They have to be submissive. Did you hear that challenging question? He's challenging me. How do you get on the boat? Wow, how do you get on? I saw my mother one time. This is how you get on the boat. I'll give you a little clue. It was also in Jersey. It was in Hearn, actually. Have you ever been to Hearn? Hearn Island. It's amazing I can remember these things. They only have a little boat there. You go from Hearn to Alderney, I think it is. On a little boat. It's like a little boat, like a little motorboat, you know. And the motorboat was pulling away. So I was on, Dad was on, but Mum wasn't on. And she tried to jump on. She got one foot on and one foot didn't make it. And you know what happens when the boat's pulling away. Plop. She fell into the water. Plop. Luckily it wasn't very deep. But it was a little embarrassing. So you've got to put both feet on the boat if you really want to get on it. Even if you don't put both feet on, you know, the boat is still there. And, you know, you're given chances to get both feet on. But ultimately, to be safe, you've got to get both feet on. What does that mean? I guess it means you have to take both your feet off the shore. But what does it mean in practical terms, in devotional terms, rather?
Wholeheartedly.
Okay, wholeheartedly. That's a nice, from our perspective. Strong faith. Okay, even if you don't have strong faith, you can still stay there. Good association. Generally, we get on the boat by association, don't we? Faith generally develops through association, even the material would. Children, their parents give them faith in various things. Although you might be scared to get on the boat, you know, you can be scared, you know, just get on there. You see animals, they're very scared sometimes, to go into and they're rightfully so, but certainly human beings too, especially little ones, sometimes they're very scared of new things. They get the strength, the faith from association, from parents and so on. Some little pushes there. But in devotional life, it's through association, really, that we're able to enter onto that boat and stay on the boat as well, really, by association. It's not usually possible without that. So association is very essential to both take up devotional service, practice devotional service, develop a taste in devotional service, and to serve Krishna, ultimately in purity. This association is really important. So, okay, that's a good one, good one. So you can cross the ocean if you stay on the boat. Prabhupada crossed the ocean from Mumbai or from Calcutta all the way to Boston. He brought the message across the ocean. As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. The fire of knowledge, not just knowledge. That's when it's put into practice. Put it into practice. Not just the theory, for the practical application of that knowledge. In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has achieved this enjoys the self within himself in due course of time. It's a happiness within. Cannot be seen or measured from without. It's a realization within. There's a reflection, or let's say, a reflection. Sometimes even without the realization, the knowledge itself sometimes, because it's much higher than material knowledge, can evoke some satisfaction within, but it's not the realized knowledge which is being talked about here. A faithful man, and this verse will probably finish on this, a faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge. This stage we're talking absorbed in that path. Absorbed in the path. He's received knowledge. One's applying that knowledge in one's life faithfully. What happens? A faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses. And senses are by nature, they have to be attracted to something. Usually they're attracted to the material objects, at least in this world. So subduing them means not to allow them to be captivated by the objects of the senses. From a devotee's point of view, it means to engage the senses in devotional acts of various kinds. To learn how everything we do in our life can be an act of devotion, not to do anything outside of that. That obviously is all part of a gradual process. What do? What happens then? Quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. I am going to read one or two more verses because there's one more verse. Yes, two more verses. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor the next. There's no real, because it means we're in birth and death. We're in the world of duality, we're in the world of karma. And where's that verse then? No. Have I missed a verse? I think the translations are a little different in this volume to the other one. That's why I've missed it. I think it was the verse I just read, where it actually describes that one attains spiritual peace. One realizes this knowledge in due course of time. One attains realization of that knowledge. By the grace of Krishna, one attains that realization. Everything becomes clear. Realization means everything is clear. There's no doubts in the consciousness of any kind. See things as they are. Realization. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Haribol. What was that? I think somebody arranged that one. I don't believe that was spontaneous.
No, it was. It's spontaneous.
Pardon? Incredible, the lights came on. You saw the truth, the lights came on. Now we can see. Yeah, incredible that. I don't know which guest that was. One of your guests said, I don't understand that earlier on. Now I think the same person has seen the light. They've seen the light now. Hare Krishna. Is that okay? No. No. You have to say yes. I pay you to say yes.
Yes, Maharaj.
Luchan? You okay? Make sure you go the right way back. Don't pay that whatever it is you put.
Yes.
Okay? Get the right road, okay? You'll be on your own this time, so you have to be careful. You have to pay more than you need to, okay? Any comments? Any challenging questions like the previous one? Just say how humbly I dealt with that question. Jayamar Prabhu, you've got to get back to the temple, quick. You've got a Rath Yatra tomorrow. 7:30 already. You taking prashad before you go back?
Yes, they are.
You better get cracking. Unless you want to have a board dance outside. Dance on the boardwalk.